Kia ora, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Sorry, this isn't live. I wanted to do it live, but yeah, things have just come up. So I've recorded this. Hopefully I'm going to get it recorded in one shot. And we're going to go through everything. I've scripted it up. So let's see how we go. Okay, so today we're talking about the digital costs of running a business, and this is just some of the things I've learned and found out supporting others with businesses and also having our own small business here at home. So wanted to share some of the things that I've learned. So let's jump to it. Okay, so what I have learned and what I truly believe is that everything kind of costs time or money. So if you don't have money, you're going to have to spend some time learning stuff. If you don't have time, then you're going to have to spend some money paying someone to do it for you. But there are some things that will definitely cost money. So let's look at them first. Okay. So the first thing which you're going to have to pay for is a domain name. And for me, this is a must when you are running a business. Okay. A domain name is your main web identity. Okay, it gives you the opportunity to have an email tied to your business, a website, and therefore a modern professional online presence. Can you run a business without a domain name? Yes, absolutely. Facebook and Marketplace and TradeMe are full of people who just sell goods or services or a combo, and that's the only place they do it. That's their whole business, that and word of mouth and traditional business cards and stuff like that. Okay, if you're happy doing that, cool, great, that's awesome. But also be aware there are laws in Aotearoa about being in trade and the protections your customers have from it, and it can come back to bite some of these businesses if they're just providing it via these services and not actually stating they're in trade. Okay. So domain is your start point. What is it and how do you get one? Okay, so a domain is a web address, the part that's after the www in a website or the @ symbol in an email, and you can buy a domain from the likes of a place like Rocket Spark. Now, I'm not endorsing Rocket Spark at all. They are a New Zealand company. But my nephew and niece use them for their business just to host their website. So I was having a look around them today. There's other ones like Domains or First Domains that does websites. First Domains is great if you are kind of technical and know your way around things. So domain hosting in that sense. And you can come here and you can search for your domain. My business idea, and let's search, and it will tell you whether that domain is available and what. So it's available for mybusinessidea.nz, .co.nz, .net.nz, .com is unavailable, .co, .net, .org, okay, all kinds of things. And here's the kind of prices that you're looking at. Okay, so Rocket Spark, something similar. My idea. Now, all of these are tied into the same kind of system, so you're not going to get a different result from Rocket Spark than you will from the likes of First Domains. Okay. So these are the ones that are available. Now, if you're going to get one domain, you may want to think about getting two domains. Okay, for instance, you might want your address at .co.nz, but you don't want your competition getting the .nz one as well. Okay, net, you don't have to worry about. Net is like a network, so a club or stuff like that. Org is an organization, so a charity group, for instance, might use org. AC.nz is academic, so actually need to be a school or a university to get those ones. But have a think about getting .co.nz, .nz, and if you're looking at also providing services overseas, say to Australia, think about .com or even .com.au if you specifically want to target Australia. All of those domains can actually point back to the same place. So you're just paying for the domain. You don't have to pay for 2 websites, for instance, or multiple emails. You're just buying the domain, and those are yearly costs. Hey, what else? The next thing that you want to be aware of is email. Okay, email. You can have an email that just goes to gmail.com or hotmail.com. And you might want to do this if you don't have a lot of startup capital. Emails and associated services can be pricey because you pay per user. But that gives your users your domain and their email. So, for instance, Kane at mybusinessidea.co.nz. In my email, attached to my domain is something that sounds a lot better than kane.mybusinessemail@gmail.com. Okay. The cost of an email service can cost about $15 a month. There are cheaper options. First Domains do it much cheaper because they just provide basic email, but the likes of Rocket Spark provide Google email. What that means is that, let's have a look, you get the Google Workspace email. So you get Google Drive, you get Google Sheets, Google Docs, Calendar, Meet. And if you're going to be in business, you're going to want an email. If you're going to want to have a Google account. Okay? There's lots and lots of things that Google does with search, with helping find your business, that makes having a Google account very useful. So having your email with Google is a bit of a bonus. But yeah, it can cost. Okay, so if we scroll down, I think, $12.60 plus GST per user per month as a starter. The next step up is twice the price. Remember, this is exclusive of GST, as most things offered to businesses are, and per user per month, at the cheapest option, you're looking at about $180 a year. Now, if you want 2 users, that's $360, so you can see how it quickly racks up in terms of cost. Okay. So that's the email side of things. You can just use one email and then get a number of different aliases. For instance, it might be your name at your email address, also info or contact or customer or services, support at your email.co.nz. They can all come to the same email, and actually you can reply to whatever email people have sent to. Yeah. So you can get away with one. If you're just a small business, even if you're just like a husband and wife type of business, you might just want to choose one email to begin with, and then you can always expand. Yeah. So that's email, which I think is essential as well. And the last thing that that you need to look at is, well, not really the last thing, but the next thing that you need to pay for is your website. Okay. So websites are, there's a lot of options for websites. Okay. Rocket Spark, once again, and I'm just sticking with Rocket Spark. Once again, it's not an endorsement of them. I haven't used them before. but they do everything. They'll do your domain, they'll do your email, and they'll do your website. And so you've got services like this in New Zealand that can do all of this. So Website Builder has a interface kind of building option where you can build your own site. Very, very cool, very useful. Yeah, just going to resize my screen because we're missing part of the website. So yeah, something like that, or you can get them to pay. You can get them to build it for you. Okay. The prices vary on these depending on what you want, including do you want an e-commerce platform? Do you want to be able to sell and people pay you on your website? Or do you just want people to be able to contact you? Is it going to be static where you just show your goods and services and point them to somewhere else like Trade Me? Or are you just providing a service such as plumbing or tree removal or business consultancy, where you just want people to be able to contact you, you go out, do the work, and then you invoice them, okay? Something like that you can actually do for free with Google Sites. And if you want, you can go have a look at my previous video where I looked at Google Sites. And so you don't have to pay for a website to do that, but you do have to spend time to build it and then connect it to your domain. So it actually points to that. Okay. Rocket Spark, once again, just one service of many different kind of businesses in New Zealand that provide this kind of service to you. And have a good look around. The prices are going to be roughly the same. There's not a lot of wiggle room in this, especially in domains and email. Okay. And you're not going to get vastly different prices. And if you do, be aware, just be careful. You may be thinking you're looking at a New Zealand website and then you're actually looking at something international. Okay. Now, if you don't want to build your own site and you want to get someone else to build it, don't be surprised to be spending $5,000 easily on a website, and that's cheap. Like websites used to cost $80,000 plus. So have that money aside if you don't have the technical abilities to be able to build the website. You don't need to know how to code anymore. Coding on websites is still useful for certain use cases, but for general people just creating their online presence and a website people can come to and buy stuff from, you don't need to. So everything's just drag and drop nowadays. But yeah, if you want someone to help you, budget at least $5,000. But using a service like Rocket Spark is going to be, they'll talk to you and quote you before they do anything. Services like First Domain allow for hosting, website hosting. Okay, a lot cheaper per month, but it's just basic hosting, and you need to actually be able to create the website yourself fully. There's no interface, there's no drag and drop. It's you upload files, you upload the website, you configure it all. Okay? So if you've got those skills, that's the cost for a custom website. And then there's other services like international, and the most common one, or the most well-known one, is Shopify. Now, Shopify prices can vary depending on what you're getting. It's probably the best option if you have plans to expand, or you want to sell in multiple countries, or you want to sell online and in person. So you want both of those options, whether it be a pop-up store or a market store where you go to different markets and you sell online. Right? It can include the payment systems for paying online through your website, but it can also include things like point of sale. Okay, and those are in the different plans that you can get. Get started for free. Now, one of the things I didn't like about Shopify is that once you start your website, you've only got a very short amount of time before you have to start paying, even though they let you pay only $1 a month. You're locked in then, okay? So you get 3 days for free. For me, that wasn't enough to kind of investigate all the ins and outs of Shopify when I was just starting to build a site a few weeks ago. So I wanted a longer period. So in that case, I looked at Squarespace, which give you a 3 months trial. Okay, Squarespace is like Shopify. It allows payment systems, and it does all of that. You pay for the services that you get, and it's probably got the best and the most modern and slick themes that are available for you to choose from when you're designing your website. But that's like their advantage in that space has kind of been slipping away as other spaces like Shopify have upped their game. Okay, so Squarespace is great. Not as good if you want to look at in-person point of sale. Okay, you have to then get plugins and pay for those plugins. But Squarespace is a great option. Now, both with Shopify, Squarespace, and the likes of things like Wix, okay, there's discount codes that you can use all the time, all over the place. So be sure to have a look at that. If you're on YouTube all the time like me, a bunch of your content creators will probably have discount codes that you can use. So you put that discount code in, and for your first year, you get 10% off or such and such. With those websites too, if you're not comfortable spending your time to build the interface, build the look and feel, you can pay for people. Shopify, Squarespace, Wix, most people are going to be outside of New Zealand. So just be aware of that, because people in New Zealand are going to charge you like $150 an hour to do your designing. People outside are going to charge much, much less. But there's usually delays in being able to communicate due to time zones. There's lots of issues with looking at getting someone externally to help you. So just be aware of that, and the limitations or the challenges that might result because of it. They all also have a ton of YouTube tutorials that you can follow and very good help articles and stuff. Squarespace even has a system called Squarespace Circle, where designers can get together. You can access that for additional help, and if you're a Squarespace Circle member, which doesn't cost anything, you get a discount off your site as well. Okay, so have a look at what you want and be aware of the prices. Actually, if I come to Squarespace, and have a look at their e-commerce. I'm just going to see if they've got their prices up. Okay. Nope, can't remember where it is. Not a free trial. Okay. Now, Squarespace gets you straight into building stuff. Once again, that's how they lock you in. Hire an expert is where you can actually get to hire someone. So find someone who's a Squarespace designer to help you. Okay. So I've used Squarespace for a number of years, and I'm looking at using Squarespace at the moment. But with all of these sites, whether you use Squarespace, Shopify, Wix, I highly recommend not buying your domain through them. So with Squarespace, with Shopify, they'll all give you a free domain. Okay? The problem with that is if you want to go and change your provider, say you want to change from Wix to Shopify at some stage, you can have a hell of a time trying to convert your domain name from one to another. Okay? Even if you come across sites and you're just buying your domain and the domain seems stupidly cheap, even if it looks like it's a New Zealand site, it's possibly a international site, and international sites don't always use the same system in terms of transferring your domain from one provider to another. So I highly, highly recommend getting your domain through a New Zealand provider, such as First Domains or Rocket Spark. I think First Domains if you're technically minded, or Rocket Spark if you need help, because with your domain you actually put in various details to connect it to things like email and such. So yeah, Rocket Spark looks great in terms of being able to do all of that for you. Okay? I use First Domains, but I manage all my whānau's business emails and website where they point to. Yeah. So that's something to be careful with domains. Okay? So tons and tons of options with websites. The things to be aware of with your website. Okay, you're paying monthly for your website, and you're paying a different price depending on the service that you want. Always start smaller and then try and then move up higher if you find that what you've got isn't enough. It can be harder trying to like getting a higher tier plan and then realizing you're not using all of those services and trying to jump down. Secondly, you pay for the website in terms of the hosting, but you also pay for the products that you sell in terms of you pay a fee per item sold for payment processing. And sometimes you pay two fees. You'll pay the payment provider, such as Stripe or Windcave or whoever handles your payment processing, or Shopify themselves. And you might also pay another fee. For instance, the cheapest e-commerce platform on Squarespace, you pay a percentage to Stripe for processing the payment, and then you pay Squarespace a percentage for processing the payment as well. So be aware of those costs. The other things that you might find that you're paying for are certain plugins. So with Shopify, you can use a plugin, or Shopify and Squarespace that I've seen, you can use a plugin to connect to the likes of New Zealand Post. Okay? That plugin is free for a certain number of shipments, but once you go over that, you've got to start paying. Okay, so that's another cost, and that might start becoming $30 US a month as well. So things that you will be paying are, okay, you will be paying your domain or domains each year. That's a yearly cost, one-off cost. You own the domain, you have the right to renewal. No one can come and buy it from under you once you've got it. Okay, but you do have to pay for it each year. The other things that you are probably going to pay for a year is your website. So while there's a monthly payment option, it's usually a lot cheaper. You usually get 2 months free or 20% off if you pay yearly. Okay. Things that you're going to be paying monthly are email. Okay. Once again, you can pay yearly for that. It can be hard to do that sometimes if your the number of emails that you want increases or decreases. My nephew and niece have a production company, so they get new staff, they lose staff depending on the jobs that they've got on. Okay, so they're always changing. And so they have to go to monthly so they can easily get a new staff member, even if they're only going to stay 6 months. So instead of paying a full year for their email, they'll just pay for that 6 months. Cloud storage. So that'll usually come with email if you're either going through Google or Microsoft for your email. There are other options as well. Proton Email is becoming more popular for its privacy. And so that comes with a suite of different tools. Once again, you pay for the tools that you use. Okay? So if you just want basic email, it's usually fairly cheap. If you want email plus the tools, you're going to need that as well. Okay? Also, be aware of things like your internet connection is a cost that you need to put against your business. Okay, and then the other things that you need to be aware of, the last things are search engine optimization. Okay, that's a time sink unless you pay someone to do that. There's enough tutorials around that you can get that done fairly well yourself. But you will need a Google account. If you want to be more searchable in Bing, you're going to want a Microsoft account as well. Hey, these can be free accounts, by the way. Okay? But driving search to your site is going to be important. Okay? Google Business Tools. So where are we? Here, business.google.com. Okay, registering your business through Google, okay, can be a huge help, even if you don't have a physical location. But if you do have a physical location, if you want it on Google Maps, then you're going to need to do that. Having it on Google Search is important. Having just basic information about what your business is and what your website is just helps Google drive people to it. Okay, if you want to use any kind of Google ad payments, okay, you're going to need this as well. Okay, and so that's all part of Google Business. And finally, don't underestimate the time cost of social media and social media marketing. Okay? Social media marketing is a dollar cost if you're going to do it, but just managing your social media is a huge time cost and something that people don't realize. If you want to be able to drive traffic via social media, if you want to be able to engage via social media, then once you start, you have to keep going. Okay, nothing says dead service, dead website, dead business than a social media site that hasn't been updated in 6 months. So be aware that it's really, really important, whether it be Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or anything else. You need to keep up a fairly regular rhythm of posting and sharing. Otherwise, don't do it. Okay. Yeah. In terms of that social media marketing and that, get AI to help you. Get it to create a marketing plan and point you in the direction of creating business assets and stuff like that. It's awesome for stuff like that. It can give you a 6-month plan of here's what you want to post and here's how regularly you want to post it, and this is going to give you the best feedback. It can even write the posts for you and then suggest good photos to add with it. So that's it. That's the kind of those online costs with running a business. I hope this has been useful. There's lots more we can dive right into. And I'm more than happy to do that. If you want, just leave us a message to say the things that you're kind of interested in. But those are the main things that are going to get you started, things to be aware of, and hopefully it's given you a bit of a pointer in the right direction. So we'll see you again soon. Ka kite anō.